Ladies and gentlemen, please make very welcome Steve Banks.
So I've been a firefighter for 30 years. And when you're a firefighter, people ask you a lot of questions. Most of them sensible, some of them a little bit funny, like, so you ever been in the calendar? Clearly not. Put my photo in every year and they say, Steve, 13th. One more month in the year and I'm in, baby. But you get asked a lot of, normal questions as well, like, what's the biggest fire you've ever been to? And people are looking for a story of, hardship and overcoming things. And in 30 years, I've been to a lot of jobs and seen a lot of stuff. But the best story I like to tell is one where I wasn't even on duty at the time. So it's a Sunday morning and I'm driving in my car with my 14-year-old daughter. Now I need to take a little side note here, and your dads out there will understand as well. When your daughter's 14, when they were young, you were a superhero, but when they're 14, you're no longer a superhero. You're kind of daggy. And that's hard to argue when you're driving her to netball on a Saturday morning. You can't really say, well, I'm actually really cool. I'm a firefighter. To which my daughter said, but Dad, because I've been working in a day work position behind a desk for the last 5 years, you're not a real firefighter. And that hurts. So we're driving along, it's a Saturday morning, a beautiful sunny day, and you drive sometimes and the road ahead you can see something's going on. There's some congestion, there's cars parked, and the old spidey sense is tingling. There's something going on out here. I can see what looks like smoke coming up. And as we got closer in the car, I realised there was a car on the side of the road and it was on fire. There was a fire underneath the bonnet. And I said to my daughter, look, I'm sorry, I can't just drive past this, I'm going to have to help. So we pulled out the side of the road, I got out. It was at this point that I remembered that I don't have a fire extinguisher in my car. Yeah, I know I should. I'm used to turning up at a job in a big red truck with 3 other trained firefighters. 1,500 litres of water and a high pressure pump. This left me totally out of my comfort zone because I had never seen an incident from this side when it was starting. I'm normally arriving about 8 to 10 minute mark where, we sort of turn up and this hasn't happened. So I saw a lot of inside I don't normally see. So what I saw was this, car on the side of the road, fire burning underneath the bonnet. The owner, I assumed, of the car was a young woman in her early 20s, and she was giving that international sign of, I don't know what to do. This. Have you ever seen that? If you see someone doing that, they're just not coping. Their mind has exploded and they can't even say their name. I've seen it several times. So I knew there's no point asking her what's going on because she wasn't going to be able to help at all. Fortunately, she had someone beside her comforting her and she was okay. The next thing I saw was these 2 guys who'd parked their car across the road and were running across the road with a very large fire extinguisher. And I knew there was a couple of handy blokes. They looked like guys who had thought, we've got an extinguisher, if anyone needs help, we'll give them a hand. And that's what they were doing. And by the way, they were wearing high vis, so there you go. So they're running across the road with this very large extinguisher, and then they got within about 2 metres of the car, and then they went, do you want to have a go? Maybe I had a look of calm on my face, I don't know, but I kind of went, yeah, all right, a lot of crap. I took the extinguisher off, I pulled the pin, did a quick test, went up, started extinguishing the fire. It's actually pretty easy when you know what you're doing. And at this point, people started gathering around. A lot of people talking, not too many people listening. A lot of people talking, not too many people listening. But through all the noise, I heard this old mate come out of the local bar, which was 20 metres away. And he decided to give some advice from a safe distance. Yeah, you don't know what you're doing, eh? You're just gonna play. You better, no, you don't know what you're doing. You're gonna stuff it up. Yeah, thanks very much. Fortunately, in that same bar, a manager came out, might have been the bar manager at the time. She grabbed what she thought would help. It turned out to be a glass of water. It was a true story. And said, "This is all I could find." I said, "Thanks, I'll do something with it. Could you drink triple O? That'd be a real big help." She did that, I assumed. So I'm putting out the last of the fire. I've knocked it down. I was pulling the bonnet, lift it up to have a look. Do that very carefully because that's when the fire gets a big gust of air. And I nearly lost my eyebrows at that point. And I had another old mate beside me about that point, and he's just complaining about everything. "Oh, cars shouldn't be made to do this these days. It's terrible if this happens. And where's the fire brigade anyway?" I've never heard that before. Because I am the fire brigade. And I went, "Oh, I'm sure they'll be here soon. Did you ring triple O?" And he just kept complaining. At this point, the fire's just about out, and a big red truck has turned up, and things are settling down. And it's just interesting as I look back at the different types of people who turned up at that emergency. Most people have this thought in their heads that bad things won't happen. Nothing ever catastrophic will ever happen. We've got our heads in the sand. We really don't want to think about it, do we? I mean, it's not something you sit around at home thinking, "What would happen if my house caught fire?" It's not something you want to do. So we put that out of our minds. Unfortunately, it does happen. And it happens, bad things happen to good people. And I've seen it too many times. And when it happens, there's two types of people. There's people who are prepared for it and actually react quite well, and the people who don't. And the people who don't sort of act like the people I described. They either completely freak out and can't even move, or they get hyper-aggressive and just want to criticise but not actually do any help. Or when they do help, they just don't have any resources. Or I've got a resource, but I don't know how to use it. I never really thought I actually had to use it. And this is what we see time and time again. So what I like to tell people is, just be prepared for the fact that it might happen. Spend a couple of minutes just go to that uncomfortable zone and go, you know, this might happen. If it does, what would I do? And then just knowing the first couple of things to do will get you moving, because you've got to do something. It's important to do something. Little sidebar to that story. While the fire was just settling down the last bit, my ears were hyper active at the time. And I heard my 14-year-old daughter, when a man walked up to her and said, "Gee, your dad looks like he's knows what he's doing." My daughter said, "He oughta. He's a firefighter."